This is the MSI automation magnetic hyperthermia system. I'll just review in the beginning the controls. First of all, you have a key here. You take the key out. Nobody can operate the machine. Come on. Get it back in. Okay, this is your start button, or your on button. Now you have power control here. You have your display, frequency and power. You have a green light indicating that you're powered up. Now you do have a temperature controller here. So we'll zoom in. Turn on the temperature controller and press that button. So right now, the temperature controller is connected to the fiber optic sensor, which is on the back side of the machine. I'll show that to you in a minute. And it's measuring 31.7 centigrade. And then you have this set point. It's like a target temperature at 50. Now, just because it's set at 50 doesn't mean you're going to heat your nanoparticles to 50. That's just a target. What the temperature controller does is it prevents it will allow powering the machine, but it prevents the machine from going over 50. And how does it do that? Well, when it approaches 50 degrees centigrade, it'll actually reduce the power. But we're not going to use the temperature controller today. We're just going to control manually. So to control manually, we go to the screen. Right now it says system is off. And now we're in manual mode, but there are other modes. There's a remote mode, which we're not going to use. We will not use it. That is if you were connected on the backside to a remote switch for heating. And you have a hand unit mode, but you don't have the hand unit option, so we're not going to use that. So we'll stay in manual mode. Now you have two types of heating again, manual, and then you also have timed. You want to see what the timer is? Push that. No, let's go back. You press settings, and you can set your time. Here it's set for 15 seconds. Now you can also do pulsed heating, so you can have 15 seconds on, 2 seconds off, and for 2 cycles. And you can adjust these values as much as you want. But we're going to do manual heating here. Now down below you have frequency 2, frequency 1. For this machine we're just going to use frequency 1. So just leave it frequency 1. You have auxiliary, but we're not using that. That's an option. So I'm going to do some heating. I'll start the heating in manual. The frequency goes fully up, and then it comes down and searches for the resonant frequency. See, right there it locked on at 220 kilohertz, and we get a message here, frequency lock, system OK, and heating. Want to turn it off? And press that button. Turn it on again. And then you have your power adjustment, going up, coming down, going up, coming down. And we'll turn it off. Now let's just go over to the heat station. at the heat station, you have, in this case, you have two lamps, and they're related to the switch on the back side, which is a two-position switch. Right now we're in position 2, which is a higher powered position. And we're going to run all our tests in the higher powered position. Also, if you do not have the green light, that means you don't have water flow. I'll go turn the water off and you'll see that the light will go off. Alright, so we're back on. So when you're heating, two things really happen. This light indicates that you're attempting to heat. That'll turn red. And this light here will turn on when you're actually heating. There's a difference. This is a computer. The computer turns this one on when you instructed the computer to heat, and this one you actually are heating. Okay, so we will heat. And now we're heating, and again we're in frequency lock. How do we know we're heating? Well, the machine is telling you you're heating. Also, there's an oscilloscope over there. Which is very interesting. I'll turn the heating off. And now you can see how it, from the oscilloscope, you can see how it searches. See, it's at a high frequency. And then it locks on perfectly. That's a very complicated circuit, but it works. Now I have a little screwdriver here, so if you don't think it's heating, we'll find out. I have a little screwdriver. I melted it, actually. And that was at low power. Okay. Now, before I forget, let's turn it off. Let me see. Oh, before I forget, now I've set up my laptop computer above the machine. And the Qualitrol software is running. However, it's not reading anything because I have to initialize it. So you go up here, and it's hard for me to see this. Okay, get rid of that screen. Okay, the fiber optic can have up to 4 different fibers connected, but we're only using one, so you go to the first position here. Let me see if I have to zoom in on that. I have to zoom in on it. You had 4 different possibilities. So you just click on the first one. Alright, and then you go over to the right hand side where it says refresh. Click on that. And then you come down here to a digital. You have four choices. You can do a graph, you can do a digital, but I use the digital because it's easier to see. So I'll click on the digital, and there's your room. That's actually room temperature. So let's get rid of that for a second. Get rid of this one. Then on this screen you can set your parameters, which is the range that you want to measure. This is set up initially for minus 50 and plus 250. Well, obviously that's not relevant for heating nanoparticles. So you could change those values to 0 for low and 50 for your high range. And then your temperature sensor will be much more accurate. So let's go back. That's a very nice system, by the way. But it's expensive. Okay, so we're back and we're heating. And I'll turn off the heating. So we've reviewed the temperature controller. And again, the temperature controller is connected to the fiber optic sensor system, which is mounted to the back side of the machine. If you look above the fan on the left is a small circuit board with a blinking light. That's your fiber optic control system. And of course the fiber optic is connected at the back side of the machine. So let's return this to here. So we've done the temperature controller and the fiber optic. I've described the lamps, the power control. Now we're going to look at the magnetic probe, which is an option on this machine that's coming with the machine. So let's go like that. Now the magnetic probe has a very fine wire winding inside, and it will measure the voltage inside the heating coil, and then the control system will convert the voltage to Gauss. All right, but we don't measure the voltage. Excuse me. We don't measure the magnetic field at maximum power because the probe could be damaged. Okay, so we're going to measure the magnetic field for a short period of time at a reduced voltage. Well, that reduced voltage is 85 volts. So to set up for measurement of the magnetic field, we push this button here. It's called X factor. That gives us a new screen. Now to begin for a measurement, first you have to know what your heating coil frequency is. Well, the heating coil that I have installed right now, that one, that runs at 225 degrees, 225 kilohertz. So you look, there's a button here. It's kind of a button. It says frequency. You press that. Let's say it was let's say it was some other value. Let's say it was 150. Well, we have to change it. We change it to the frequency that the heating coil actually operates at. So that was 225. So we push that button. Now it says 225. So now we're correct. All right. Then the next thing is we do all our testing at 85 volts, which is 1/3 of your peak voltage. Then of course the algorithm that runs the calculation, that just whatever measurement I take with this probe, it multiplies it times 3, and that gives you an output value in Gauss. That's pretty accurate. So what we'll do is I have to back up a second again. You can control the heating here also. It says timed heat and stopped heat. So we're going to turn on the timed heat. So now we're running. And you see right there, that little box, you adjust the potentiometer until you get to 85 volts, right there, and leave it. You leave it right there. Okay. That will be the voltage at which we do our measurement. One more time. Turn it on. $85 volts. Good. Stop heat. Okay. So now I'll adjust the camera so you can see both the screen display and me putting the probe in the coil. Now I will hold the probe above the coil until I see an indication that we're actually heating. Again, we got a frequency is correct, 225, and we'll have the 80. Yeah, actually, as soon as you see 85 volts here, you can put the probe in the coil and put it in about the center. Just center it. Center it up and down and in the middle. So I'm going to turn on the heat. And there we have 85 volts. And there's your measurement. And then I'll pull it out. Watch. I'll put it back in. Very stable. And then turn it off. So those are your values. And I came up with 680, 694, 687, etc. Then if you want to test again, you just press reset. We'll do it again. Start. We'll just wait till you see 85 volts. There you go. I'll put it in. Take it out. Put it in. Take it out. And then we'll reset it. Okay, let's go back to the main screen. Push that button. Okay, that's pretty much everything, actually. Which is interesting because this machine is so complicated internally, but actually to describe it functionally, to describe how it works is simple. Just got a couple buttons to push and that's it. Anyway, some people, and in this case, they want to operate from three-phase power, and this is operating from three-phase, by the way. And why would you want three-phase? Well, you get better power, higher power, and it's smoother. Smoother in that it's not as noisy. Okay, but in the case that you want three-phase, well, guess what? There's a transformer. And I've set it up so you have a plug right on the side of the box and you would plug your this power supply directly into that plug. And these are your boards. Inside the machine is complicated. You have a top board, which you're seeing here, and then down below you have a bottom board. What does the bottom board do? Well, the bottom board is what controls your heating power. The top board basically controls your frequency, because it has all the necessary logic. And then there are other boards. There's a board on the back, which you can't really see very well. I call that a hookup board. It basically consolidates a lot of the wires. And then in the front, you have your, you can see in the middle of the screen, you have your Allen Bradley computer. And then the back side of the touchscreen, you have a control transformer, which is black, and then a contactor underneath it, and then right down there you have your fuses. And let's go to the back side. This is fairly important. Okay, this is your main disconnect switch. You turn that to off and all the power is disconnected. This is your circuit breaker. This is the power that actually does the heating. If you flip that off, you won't heat, but you'll still be running. Now here's your pressure gauge. Now I marked it at around 30 psi. That's the kind of water pressure you need. Then at the far side, I have to tighten this. And at the far side, you can see the magnetic probe is here. Excuse me, this is the fiber optic sensor. I have it coiled. It's very delicate, so don't damage it. So that's your fiber optic sensor. It's 2 meters long, and then you have your magnetic probe plugged in. And then below that you have a, let's get down there. It's a little hard to see. This is your RS-232, which I provided for you. That connects to the laptop computer. So that sends the signal from the fiber optic board to the laptop computer. That's how that works. Way down here at the bottom, can you see that? Down here is 24 volts. If you have a infrared camera that runs off of 24 volts, you can plug it into there. That's the only, that's the purpose of that, is for convenience. So you don't have to supply a separate 24 volt power supply. And then this cable is just connecting to the heat station to turn on those lights. And then of course down here is your power cable coming in. So that is pretty much everything. That's pretty much everything I can think of. Well, obviously I took the hoods off the unit so I could show you the internals a little bit. That machine in the background underneath the laptop, that's a you're looking at the backside of a mobile unit, mobile induction heater for the hand unit. And probably you're not interested at the moment, but we already sold one. it's the same system. Electronically, it's the same system, except it's on wheels, and it's, as you can see, it's quite tall. I think it's goes from the floor all the way up. I'm just using it as a platform to hold the touch screen. I think I better stop the video because it's going to be too long. So I'm happy that you are a customer of MSI, and we're real innovators in this kind of technology. We have a lot of new product coming online. Of course, if you have any questions, you can always email me. So I'm going to turn off the video. Thank you for watching.